We've got 4 practices in so far. Today was our first day of full pads, so I'm a little reserved on saying who's really stood out. Once you get out there the first couple days in helmets, it's just being excited being back on the field. I think some of the usual suspects, in terms of offensively, all of our quarterbacks have looked really good. Ben Belensky's looked really well, which we need him to. Scott Fowler's, who's our redshirt freshman, had a very good offseason. He looks very strong and starting to get an idea of what we're supposed to be doing, as he was on the scout team last year. Isaiah Hall, our incoming transfer running back that played at Humboldt State last year, has gotten a very good grasp of what we're doing offensively and has shown us a lot of very good glimpses of what we hope to see out of him. Lee Webb on the same token looks like he's stepping up now, another year of maturity after playing as a true freshman last year. Brett Davis has had a good 4 days. Like I said, it's still pretty early, but coming off the scout team, I think he's done a great job. Our offensive line's looking very good, looking solid as well. Our tight ends, we do have a couple of young guys, Jackson Lundeen and Lofton Klabundi, that we've been able to do a lot with them. They're a little bit more dynamic of a tight end, so it's not just kind of a skinnier offensive tackle. We're able to spread them out and do some things with them, and they're picking it up, which for young guys, that's maybe not always the easiest thing to do. So that's been good. And then defensively, returning just about everybody up front. Those guys have been able to progress and get better, in the limited amount of reps that we can judge them on. And then in the defensive backfield, that's really where our big question marks are, where we got to replace a lot of people. And we're a thin group right now, but some of the guys we got some good glimpses of last year. Latrell McCutcheon, for example, who started at the end, has looked really, really outstanding. Justin Coleman, who started, I think it was the last 4 games last year at safety, has looked very strong and has definitely kind of shown up as the leader of that group back there. And then you got a bunch of other guys that are fighting and looking really well too. I could just keep going down the list, but for time I won't.
All right. Having the athletic tight ends for a change, like you said, does that open up the field and also help out like the mobile quarterback aspect of this offense? Is there even more room, I guess, considering you're going to be flinging out another guy in coverage that defenses have to worry about? Is there any kind of correlation there at all?
Yeah, if you've got an athletic tight end, defensively you have to adjust for. You see a tight end on the field, you have a different set of calls that you're probably going to go to, thinking a little bit more run-oriented. But if we can take a tight end and spread him out as a wide receiver, still accomplish what we want in the passing game and give us a viable threat down the field when maybe the defense is a little bit more in a run-stopping mode, I think that's something that can definitely make us much more multiple at like what we're looking for. So it's been really good to see those guys pick it up, and they've done a really good job too of being that hammerhead tight end too that we also want them to grow into.
Does anything ever get like really decided in spring, or does it really just serve as a refresher and a chance to bring in like the new guys and get them up to speed with everybody else?
I think the most important thing in the spring is to be able to give either the kids that transferred in or your freshmen that were redshirting last year an opportunity to get a ton of reps within our schemes offensively and defensively. If they redshirted last year, they're on scout team and running somebody else's stuff week in and week out. So now they get to do our stuff and get a lot more personal attention on their technique and the things that we're looking for. And for the guys that transferred in here, I mean, obviously they got to get up to speed pretty fast. But luckily for them, they played a lot of college football already, so now it's just a matter of learning what our playbook looks like and some of our buzzwords. So I think that's really the most important thing that you can get out of spring. You'd like to have an idea coming out of spring of who your guys are, at least in that first group. But you still have so many opportunities in between the start of fall camp and game one that could change as well. But at least you have an idea going into the offseason.